You received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up.
Well, as I live and breathe, hello, Mr. Wall. Oh, I'm doing just fine. It's a day-to-day struggle, day-to-day battle, day-to-day life, but today is going pretty good. And then plus I got a good call from you, so that's going to help. Yeah, we've had quite a few successes out here. There's people getting out, and there's a few more that's on the list. I wish I could connect with them after they get out and keep updated with them, but they've been living in prison, and their whole life is just under the magnifying glass, and so getting out and enjoying that privacy, that's a good thing. And then trying to lay low and under the radar, that's another good thing. And so if there's anything that comes out of my relationship with the people that are locked up, it's the fact that they appreciate freedom. They appreciate everything they own. They appreciate all the friends that they have. And most of all, they appreciate their freedom, being able to go to a movie or hang out with friends or watch a concert or subscribe to a service. Good, because you shouldn't be happy. You shouldn't be pleased with the way things are going in there. I know comfort is one thing, but to think that being in prison is a good thing, we can't broadcast that. And I'll never broadcast that it's a good thing to go to prison. Even if somebody's calling me and saying I committed a crime, should I turn myself in? Yeah, you should. And you should do your time and put it behind you. And the main thing that I have run into out here is the public just thinks that you guys need to be punished every day for the rest of your life. It's as if going to prison is a death sentence for you. And that's the question I ask the most. And I guess I just need to explain that helping people who committed a crime, no matter what the crime, no matter how heinous the crime, there's a reason people commit a crime, and there's a reason that people will stop and never commit a crime again. And of course, the people that are locked up for life, they can offer guidance, wisdom, some kind of connection. Good, yeah, because that's the kind of roommate I was talking about. And the way I see it, and hopefully I can relay this to the people out here, is there's if a prison official dies, and it doesn't matter if it's natural or an unnatural death, the Department of Corrections will offer some kind of remembrance. There could be a memorial set up, maybe a name put on a board or a plaque. And that's good, because we don't want to forget the people and their hard work. And these folks that go into a prison and, let's say, die because of a riot, get killed by somebody, I feel bad for the family that lost them, and I feel bad for the friends who lost this loved one. And I support remembering.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
But when a person that you admire that goes in there and gives you great advice and may have been a serial killer dies, they just kind of sweep them under the rug, and that's the wrong thing to do. You guys are humans. You deserve better than that. And I believe that prison should honor those who are doing a good job, or at least making a very good effort to reform themselves.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
And yeah, I know you're one of those folks. And so I applaud you. Keep doing the good work. And I'm going to keep on saying that to the folks that are making a difference in there. You don't have to be a staff member. Okay, well, thanks for the call. And you keep mentoring folks and letting them know what's going on out there. Oh, yeah, I'll keep you informed on all the stuff that's going on. Good. Take care of yourself and don't be a stranger. Yeah.
Thank you for using inmate call. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to AQS Inmate Call. I'm your host, Joel Wilborn. And in this episode, I want to discuss the forgotten folks, the people who commit suicide while they're in prison, people who die a natural death while they're in prison, or the people who are murdered or neglected. And yeah, as the general public says, they committed a crime, they knew what they were getting into, and it was just a risk you have to take. And going to prison, getting killed, oh well. Now, if you were to do this butterfly effect, let's say, you know how a butterfly can flap its wings and affect a major event on the other side of the planet. It's not off the table, let's put it that way. The things these people in prison do and say really can affect a lot of lives out there. Now, we'll just create a situation. Let's say a man goes out and he kills a series of people, and he isn't caught for years. The technology to catch him just isn't out there at the times of the crime. And so he gets married, he fathers some children, he gets a well-paying job that's respected in the neighborhood, he's a good community leader, and he's just putting on this as an act so people won't suspect him as being the one who killed these folks years ago. And, you know, his children rely on him growing up. And let's say he got away with it for 20 years. So most of his children, let's say, are adults or close to it. Like the oldest might be in the 20s. And then technology catches up and the police move in and do their job super fantastic and get this person convicted and locked away. Now, we're all happy. You got away with it for years. You're locked up. And probably during the time he was out, he kept this crime going and kept monitoring it and looking and see how technology has gone and what the press is writing about it and how the police are doing. So he gets caught and he knows he's guilty, and he may play the game, I plead innocent, you need to prove this, all this is circumstantial, I'm going to get by. But he's guilty and he gets convicted in this particular case. So why would anybody want him to be happy? He committed these murders and he got away with it for years. Well, here's the thing. Even though he's committing these crimes, he's a productive member of society. He's paying his taxes. He's rearing his children, and let's say they grow up to be outstanding citizens. They're not bad people. And there's been some characters on TV shows and movies that have had serial killer or some hardcore criminals as parents, and they did just fine. And then there's all others that's had the criminal parents and they grow up to be criminals as well. And I see that quite a bit. But this particular guy, His children did well. His wife did well. Now, we may look at him as useless to society, and his death is no sadness to the world. But let's say he gets in there and people say, how did you get away with it for so long? How did you do this? What was your technique? And he describes that to folks. Now, of course, he can say anything he wants about it and give as much detail as he wants, but technology's caught up. And the things that worked for him 30 years ago won't work for him now. And that's a good thing, because he's talking to him, he's telling them what he did, and they're thinking, no matter how hard we try, technology, we can't predict that. We don't know what's going to happen. And so they're thinking, well, even after all this time you were caught, even after all you did, they don't care. This crime superseded all of that. And one or two people listening to him, asking him questions, interacting, could have a moment and decide never to do that kind of stuff, not to get involved in that. This person could call home and talk to their kids and say, I just met this person who was just arrested not long ago, and now he's in here for the rest of his life, and this is some of the stuff he told me. And there's a lot of people out there that get so pompous, they think that they can commit a crime and never get caught. And for a lot of people, that's a challenge. Can I break into a museum and steal a valuable diamond and hide it for years? It could be a good challenge to them, something they want to try to do. But with the modern technology popping up, I'm really happy that a lot of these crimes that have no statute of limitations, like murder, it really, I really admire that, because these folks got away with it for so long, and they see what kind of life they could live if they didn't commit this. So wouldn't it be a good idea to show this kind of individual to the world? Have this person sit and say, yeah, I really felt confident. I really felt I wasn't going to get caught, but then it caught up with me. Technology is just, it grows, and you can't predict it. And I know there's been some sci-fi movies out there where people can predict crimes, or people can go back in the past and see a crime. There's a lot of things that they would introduce to us as ways to solve old crimes. But the DNA thing, and especially the way people are sharing DNA almost on a daily basis, is fantastic, because you can take the DNA of an uncle and trace it back to the murderer. In some cases it comes too late. The person's dead, or the person's already in prison. And catching people is what we want to do, and locking them up, but we also want to prevent any future crimes. And there's countries out there that have some harsh punishments, yet people are still committing crimes. No matter what we do, we could threaten somebody. If you trespass on this land, we'll shoot you and kill you. And the people will still do it. And teenagers really, their risk factor is very low. They're willing to try anything. As they get older, they're a little more thoughtful about it, and they don't want to take that chance. But as they're young, it's like, well, what have I got to lose? At least try it. If I fail, I fail. If I win, I win. So crime is going to keep on going. And we can't do anything about future crimes, and we can't do anything about people that are committing crimes and being very careful and cautious and hiding. We can do something about the folks that we catch and we lock up. And since a lot of crimes are repeated crimes or crimes based on an addiction, we can work on the people on that, concentrate on that so that they get out and they talk to other people. This is almost like a word of mouth thing. If something works, they're going to talk about it to other folks and they're going to try it with other folks. I'm not going to sit here and say the folks that I've worked with who managed to get out of prison and stay out for several years, I'm not going to say they had no effect whatsoever on other people, and I'm not going to say that their life and their experiences didn't help convince a person not to commit a crime. If a person is addicted to drugs and they go out and they steal from their family and their friends and from businesses so they can get money so they can buy more drugs, then we know the core of that criminal wave, and that's the addiction. And imagine a person being able to say, I'm sick of this addiction, I'm sick of stealing, go down to the local police department and say, I've committed these crimes, and the police department gets them set up in a rehabilitation program that everybody who goes through that gets that. And there's homeless people that just steal. There's really no reason for it. They just go around and steal. I've seen them throw things over bridges and stuff. There's just something not right in their mentality. We could work with that. There's been a few people that's been locked up for murder, and a few people that's 6 feet under because they were murdered because of a mental state. And ignoring this issue isn't going to make it any better. So if we have somebody that's locked up and who has no regard for human safety, including their own, those are people we need to work with. And so I work with folks that committed crimes because I don't want them to commit any more crimes. And what are the things that can help stop them from committing crimes? The number one thing is them. They have to make that commitment. But in order to convince them, in order to let them know that it is something worth fighting for and it does have great rewards, we need to have an open line of communication. We need to talk with these folks, listen to these folks, and get these folks the resources they need. And then let them go. And I've seen great success by doing that method. And if I can help keep 3 people out of prison, I will do it. And it's worth it to me. And if a person is in prison and makes an effort to prevent anybody else from following him, he should be rewarded, not just swept under the rug and forgotten. Yes, let's remember officials who passed away, even those who retire and just die a natural death. They dedicated part of their life to keeping people locked up, to keeping the community safe. But on the other hand, they could have talked with the incarcerated people and maybe listened to them. Of course, there's some bad ones and there's some bad inmates that try to take advantage of it. But every once in a while, 1 or 2 people benefit. And there's folks that get locked up. They don't care about getting out. And they'll cause problems even while in lockup. I'm locked up for life. I have nothing to lose. And they'll beat people up and smuggle stuff in and smuggle stuff out. But there's always that person too that will sit in the cell and give some fantastic advice. I've received some great advice from people that were locked up, and I've shared my wisdom with people that were locked up and had them repeat it back to me and other folks. Word of mouth with me is fantastic. And anybody can do that. Anybody can offer words of advice or a hug, handshake, even a nice little well-placed compliment. These are the things we can do to keep our community safe. Locking folks up has never worked, and it never will. There's more to it than that. These are correctional centers. You need to work with the folks and find out what caused them to commit these crimes. Just imagine if you want to go out and you want to share your opinions with folks and they arrest you and put you in jail, and then you get out in 30 days, you think you're just going to quit and say, I went to jail. I don't want to go to jail anymore. I'm going to stop doing this. If you're passionate enough about something, you're going to keep on doing it until something or somebody sparks this notion in your mind not to do it anymore. And that person could be you. You could spark that notion. But we need to treat everybody equally. Don't treat anybody any differently than you'd want to be treated. And if you want people to listen to you and work with you on an issue that you have, then it's nice to at least try that on other people. It doesn't always work, but it will definitely fail if you don't try. And if we want the world to be a safer, happier place, we're going to have to do something. And it starts with us. We have to make the change. So hug your children. Have family get-togethers. Play games. Watch TV shows, movies. Go on trips. Take hikes. Play sporting events. And if a family member wants to play on a high school football team, go to the game. Let's get the family back together again. Let's open up communication and understand the things that are bothering our loved ones. And then let's find ways to work with them. Because that one life that you inspire, that you motivate, that you lead into the right direction and bring out of the darkness, could affect thousands of people in that butterfly effect. Just remember that. Well, thanks for tuning in, and please show your loved one that you care. Hugs, walks, time together, listening makes a big difference. So go out and have yourself a fantastic day and make beautiful memories for tomorrow.